may be seated. People of hope, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy, and satisfies you with good as long as you live, so that your youth might be renewed like the eagles. Yes, let all who are gathered at Hope say, bless the Lord, O my soul. Friends, hear these words from the book that we love, the bush that burns and is ever consumed. From Deuteronomy 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years long past. Ask your father, and he will inform you. Your elders, and they will tell you. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Members of the graduating class of 2016, families and friends, faculty and staff colleagues, welcome to Hope College's 151st commencement exercises. In 1866, 2 months after receiving our charter from the state of Michigan, we graduated our first class of 8 seniors. A century and a half later, we are joined together to celebrate the graduation of 785 members of our largest class ever. Students, it is my great honor to commend you for achievements that will be important to you for as long as you live. You have worked hard, learned well, and persevered to become Hope College graduates. On a personal note, Kelly and I have been privileged to call so many of you our friends. You were sophomores and welcomed us when we arrived on campus, and it has been a joy to live and work with you for the last 3 years. It is our prayer that you too have found this to be a place where you are welcome, where the love of Christ is shared generously, and where you have discovered how your unique gifts may be used to bring hope to a world that has never needed it more. I am confident that through every stage of life, your appreciation of your time at Hope College will only continue to grow. Very shortly, you will join the ranks of Hope College alumni, a worldwide network of thousands who share a common bond. They will embrace you as one of their own, as part of the Hope family. You will find that love for this college burns bright across the generations and around the world. Your class came to us from nearly 400 different high schools in 322 cities, across 29 U.S. states, and from homes as far away as Brazil, Bulgaria, China, Dominican Republic, Ghana, Honduras, Japan, Jordan, South Korea, Mexico, Nigeria, Rwanda, Thailand, the United Kingdom, and Vietnam. Class of 2016, you have left an indelible legacy, and your college is forever better because you chose to journey with us for a time. We thank you for that. We are also thankful to your families for their influence in your lives, for the countless ways they have supported you through these years, and for the sacrifices that they have made to ensure you a superb education. At this time, I ask you, our graduating class, to stand together and express your thanks with applause to your parents, grandparents, and other family members who are with us this afternoon. Finally, we recognize that a superb liberal arts education such as you have gained requires an outstanding and dedicated faculty. No doubt, many of you feel a special sense of gratitude to certain professors and members of our staff whose influence in your life has been decisive. Be sure to tell them so. Collectively, You have earned more than 100,000 credit hours. Significantly, nearly 1/3 of your class took at least one course with Dr. Wayne Brower, more than with any other professor. It is a testimony to his relationships with so many of you that your class chose to honor him as today's commencement speaker. This afternoon, we also honor 6 of these professors who are attending their last commencement as full-time members of our faculty. Retiring with 197 years of service to the college are Jim Ellis, Philosophy, Mart Baer, History, Alfredo Gonzalez, International and Multicultural Education, Ann Larson, French, Gloria Slaughter, Library, Boyd Wilson, Religion. I now invite the 6 of you to stand so that we may recognize your service while we also express our gratitude to all members of the Hope College faculty. Friends, we have so much to celebrate. Let us remember that all good things come from our God, and that we have indeed been richly blessed in this place.
Hello, my name is Colin Wrench, and I am the president of the Alcord chapter of Mortarboard at Hope College. Mortarboard is a National Honor Society for college seniors that is dedicated to scholarship, leadership, and service. Over the past 14 years, Dr. Diane Portfleet of the English department has served as faculty advisor to the Alcord chapter. And through her great work, the chapter has received numerous distinctions, including being named the top chapter in the country in 2010. Most recently, Dr. Portfleet was given the Excellence in Advising with Distinction Award in 2013. This year marks the final year that Dr. Portfleet will serve as advisor to the Alcord chapter, and it is only fitting that we recognize her for the commitment she has shown to the organization over the past 14 years. In recognition of her service, the current members of the chapter have voted and have gained approval from the National Mortarboard Office to rename our chapter the Diane Portfleet Alcord chapter. Dr. Portfleet, please rise and accept our applause for your years of service to Mortarboard. And now I ask that we turn our attention to another well-deserved award, the Hope Award. The dream begins with a teacher who believes in you, who tugs and pushes and leads you to the next plateau, sometimes nudging you with a sharp stick called truth. This quote by the journalist Dan Rather captures the impact that a really great teacher can have on a student, an impact that all of us students have experienced at some point in our 4 years at Hope. The Hope Outstanding Professor Educator Award, instituted in 1965, is presented annually by the graduating class to the professor who they believe epitomizes the qualities of a Hope College educator. The recipient is a professor who has truly made a significant impact in the classroom and in our daily lives. This year's recipient is both a pastor and a teacher, someone who expertly wields Rather's sharp stick of truth. He is an expert in the field of biblical studies and teaches in the religion department. In one of his most well-known classes, students conduct a thorough reading of biblical passages, a process both extremely informative and spiritually fulfilling. For these and many other reasons, the 2016 Hope Outstanding Professor Educator Award goes to the Reverend Dr. Wayne Brower.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon, class of 2016. I'm Andrew Harrison, President of Student Congress at Hope College. In that role, it is my privilege to introduce today's commencement speaker. But if Colin just introduced him as the winner of the Hope Award, I guess my work's done, so thanks. But no, then again, that is not the case, because there's absolutely so much more that could be said about this year's commencement speaker, the Reverend Dr. Wayne Brower. Each year, Hope College's commencement speaker is one of our faculty or staff, elected by the graduates for this incredible honor. I mean, we finished all our classes and we still want to hear more from this guy. That's pretty incredible. Here's why I'm convinced my classmates and I elected Professor Brower. With 5 degrees, Dr. Brower clearly knows lots of things. And he cheerfully shares that knowledge with students at Hope and Western Theological Seminary. Dr. Brower has traveled the world in both missionary and pastoral capacities, even serving in a clergy role for international cruises. He knows when to talk and when to listen, and is a lover of learning, people, and Jesus. I asked one student about her experience in his class, and she immediately responded with, "He's extremely paternal in the most loving way possible. He's almost some kind of father time figure that instead of carrying a scythe and an hourglass, he's carrying the Bible and a thought-provoking pop quiz." Class of 2016, are you ready? Sit up in your chair a little more, because one more lecture before that diploma is yours. Fellow classmates, it's my pleasure to present to you our commencement speaker, Professor Wayne Brower.
You caught me by surprise. Thank you, thank you. President Knapp, members of the Hope College Board of Trustees, faculty, colleagues, relatives, and friends, and especially you honored 2016 Hope College graduates. What a day. Congratulations. And now the next steps: graduate school, gap year, an internship, maybe even a real job. If nothing else, go home and live with mom and dad. And for some of you, I know, marriage. One couple who got married right out of college had a wonderful honeymoon on the Caribbean island. Then they went home to set up their new domestic world, and they agreed to work from their strengths. She liked to cook. He couldn't. It was her task. The first breakfast she made was perfect. Eggs fried beautifully, bacon crisp but not burned, toast lightly browned, coffee brewed with a French press, even fresh flowers on the table, and real cloth napkins. She was excited as he came down to the table. Perfection. But all he did was shake his head and mutter, "Not like my mom used to make it." She couldn't believe it. She was angry, but she was also in love, so she bit her tongue and played nice and got through the day. Next morning, she was determined to do better. She even outdid yesterday's perfection. A Western omelet, nicely fluffy, a little cheese oozing out, freshly squeezed orange juice, marmalade from the farmer's market. It was a breakfast fit for the cover of Food magazine. He had to love it and love her even more because of it. But his face told a different story. A look of concern, a shake of his head. Not even a first bite before he said again, "Not like my mom used to make it." Now she was seething. This marriage was in danger, and it wasn't even a month old. She was tired of playing house already, so the next morning she fixed things in a way that would keep her out of the kitchen forever. She fried one egg rubbery and cracked another directly onto the plate without cooking it. She didn't stir the oatmeal, and it became nothing but chunks and lumps. The bacon was half in, half out of the frying pan, so part was charred and the rest was slippery and gooey and uncooked. The toast was a burnt offering. She meanly anticipated his face when first seeing this mess, and then came the surprise. He lit up like Christmas, just like my mom used to make it. It doesn't take us long to establish our context and culture. As children, we become mostly open and future-oriented, with few memories and only the present to enjoy. Roy Drusky put it like this in his reminiscent song. I've been up and I've been down, I've worked the fields, I've plowed the ground, I've borne the strain and pressure till I thought I might explode. Now I yearn for childhood days of model planes and lemonade when the days stretched out before me like a long, long Texas road. Yes, that long, long Texas road's about 1 million miles or so, and when you're just a child, there ain't no time but now. Must have lost that long old road 700 years ago, and I'd find it once again if I knew how. We all know what he's talking about, don't we? Every day, a new adventure, no past, no future. But then we grow older and we learn to anticipate, and that's where all of you are at today. The future beckons, jobs, careers, graduate school, travel, gap year, marriage. Suddenly your whole life is in the future. I can't wait! What I would like to encourage in you today as you launch into this wide open future is to enjoy the great long, long Texas roads of the present and to live for all of those future expectations that pull and entice and call and beckon, but also to remember the past. Remember who you are as you live and love and laugh, but also remember whose you are. Remember that you did not spring into this world by yourselves. Remember that you are shaped in a context. Remember that you are an accumulation of people and ideas and values that have been poured into you with love and hope. As Jewel sings in her autobiographical reminiscences, I am my Father's daughter, I have his eyes. I am the product of his sacrifice. I am the accumulation of the dreams of generations, and their stories pour through me like holy water. I am my Father's daughter. This is what Moses had in mind in his last nights with Israel, 120 years old, and he's sharp as a tack. They've been together for 40 years. He's the only leader and guide they've ever known, and now he's leaving them, going to die. And they will move on. The door to the future is open. There's much to anticipate, much to fear, much to get excited about. Then, in the precise moment of a marvelous present and in these days of an open and expanding future, this is what Moses says. Remember the days of old. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain it to you. Good advice for Israel, and good advice for us. On this day of open doors and future orientation, why should we remember the past? For at least 3 reasons. First, our identities, your identities, are as shallow as an overnight rain puddle, as vapid as magnesium flash, if they're not tied to our pasts. Many of you have taken IDS 200, Encounter with Cultures. I know you were there, and I'm clipping together pieces from your papers. You did it as part of your Phelps Scholars Program. You did it as part of your education program, and one of the key assignments in that course, no matter which professor, was to research your culture, the family that you came out of. Go back at least 3 generations and find out where your parents and your grandparents and great-grandparents came from. And the point of that assignment, and dozens of others scattered across the disciplines, was simple. You do not exist in a vacuum. You are not the center of the universe. You are part of a continuity of human life that meanders through time. You are important, but you are also connected. Gordon Lightfoot put it well in one of his songs, Did She Mention My Name? It's so nice to meet an old friend and pass the time of day and talk about the hometown 1 million miles away. Is the ice still in the river? Are the old folks still the same? And by the way, did she mention my name? Did she mention my name just in passing, and when the morning came, do you remember if she dropped a name or two? Is the home team still on fire? Did they still win all their games? And by the way, did she mention my name? Is the landlord still a loser? Do his signs hang in the halls? Are the young girls still as pretty in the city in the fall? Does the laughter on their faces still put the sun to shame? And by the way, did she mention my name? Did she mention my name just in passing, and looking at the rain, do you remember if she dropped a name or two? Once you say hello from someone, there'll be no need to explain. And by the way, did she mention my name? Those who surround you today have a stake in your lives, just as you do in theirs. When I was near the end of one of my master's programs, I mentioned to my parents that I was so glad to be done with it that I didn't think that I would participate in the graduation ceremonies. And my mom said to me, We're planning to be there. It'd be nice if you were too. I didn't get my education on my own. My family had a part in it, and believe it or not, we professors actually have an investment in you as well. We are all too well aware in the events of these past weeks that have been made clear at Hope College that none of us is indispensable. We can all lose our jobs in an instant, yet we believe that we have a purpose here and a stake in your lives. And your success is, in part, our mutual success. The future is open to you because we believe that the wisdom of the past and the people who have gone before have provided a platform on which to stand and walk and run and soar. When Robert Hooke was complimenting his friend Isaac Newton about Newton's influence and his brilliance, Newton wrote back identifying some of the greats in his own past from which he had learned much. You might say his college education. And then Isaac Newton commented, "If I have been able to see further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants." So your education here, yes, you are the brightest and best and wisest that this world has ever seen. But never forget that you can see further than all of us old people because you have been standing on our shoulders and those of generations that have come before. So Moses was right. Remember the days of old. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain it to you. The second reason why we should remember the past is that our values are moored somewhere out there. We have asked you recently to write your worldview paper for your senior seminar. What did you say? That you are the first in the world to see these things truly and rightly? That no one has ever had these specific values before you? No. You tied your worldview to themes and traditions and values that have proven trustworthy over time. A terrible story from a community east of here some years ago. It was winter, and a boy and a girl, she 11, he 9, sister and brother were testing the ice on a pond. They slid, they laughed, they challenged one another to go out a bit further. But the ice wasn't strong enough, and they were not yet wise enough to know it. And crack! Suddenly they plunged through. Shouting and freezing, their plight caught the attention of a passerby. He tried to rescue them, but the thin ice cracked and would not hold his weight. He found a branch and extended it toward the boy, and here's where the horrible story becomes astounding. Because the boy, 9 years old, freezing and drowning, shouted, "Save Annette! Not me, save my sister!" So the man pushed the branch to Annette, and she grabbed it, and she was pulled to safety. And when they turned round to save her brother, he was gone, drowned. Terrible story. But here's the thing that continues to haunt me. Where would a boy 9 years old get the presence of mind, drowning and freezing, to tell his would-be rescuer, "No, don't save me, save my sister, save Annette"? I don't know anything about that boy, and I don't know anything about that family. And yet I do, and so do you. Because somewhere along the line, that boy and that girl sat at a meal table with parents who talked about rights and wrongs, about good and bad, about care and commitment, about being the kind of people we should be, can be, ought to be. These two people became the people they were even at their young ages because they had gathered into themselves a past bigger than themselves. Remember the days of old, says Moses. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they'll explain it to you. You know it's true. When Margaret Mead, the great cultural anthropologist, was speaking at a university many years ago, a student stepped up to the mic in the question time following her lecture. "Ms. Mead," he asked, "what do you believe is the first sign of civilization in any society?" There were a number of possible answers, of course. Maybe the creation of tools and utensils, perhaps the domestication of animals, probably some early evidence of language skills. But Margaret Mead's answer surprised the university community. "I believe," she said, "the first sign of civilization in any society is the presence of a healed femur." Now, those of you who don't know what a healed femur is, you'll have to ask to the pre-med students among you. It's the top bone of your leg. She was right. In our dog-eat-dog world, where the strong are prized and weaklings are abandoned, there's something of civilization that shows through only when femurs are healed. You see, she said, the law of the jungle is this: you fall, you die. And when your femur breaks, you are stopped where you are. Death is imminent. The wild beasts will have you for dinner, and if by some miracle you survive a night, thirst and hunger will destroy your body. So if there is any indication of a broken femur that has been healed, it means that someone at great threat to her own life stayed next to the one who fell, brought water, fought back predators, foraged food for two, dragged the injured person to safety, and looked after him until he was healed. The first sign of civilization is a healed femur. In a world that knows too much of might and power, it's important to know that some care enough to protect those who have broken femurs. And children's lives are valued, and the marginalized are given a voice, and the refugees find hospitality. Have you learned anything here at Hope College? Do you have values that truly matter? Are you a civilized person? If you are fascinated only by your current joys and desires, if you are mesmerized by only your needs and your future possibilities, you are not truly a Hope person. Albertus Christian van Raalte, whose body is buried just over there, struggled to guide his immigrant community through its first harsh winter. One Sunday, while leading worship at Pillar Church, he was praying for the families of those who had died of disease and exposure during the past week. The list was long, and the community was traumatized by death. Breaking the orderly decorum of the stiff Calvinist liturgy, he cried out suddenly, "Oh God, must we all perish?" Hope College is an outcome of that wicked time. Van Raalte established the Pioneer School as a testimony and trust that not all would perish, and that among the survivors of this harsh place would be those who would learn the lessons of the past and lead the community into a new future. So here you are, with your history degrees, and your nursing degrees, and your education degrees, and your chemistry degrees, and your philosophy degrees. Consider the generations past. Remember whose you are. Your future awaits, but your morality is established in the past. One more thing. Our faith is tied to the past, however we view faith, whatever we might think about religion, because all of us are, in fact, religious. And I'm not saying here that we're all Christians, or even that those of us who are Christians are all Christians in the same way. But we're all religious because we all have faith. We have faith in God, or we have faith in ourselves. We believe this world is the work of a creator, or we believe that this world's self-generated. We believe that Jesus is the Christ, or we believe that he was a person of significance in human history. We have faith. We have faith because we cannot find all of the answers to meaning entirely on our own or within our personal range of experiences. We entered existence after it had been happening for quite a while, and we cannot prove what or who originated it. The future is beyond our lives here, as Shakespeare called it, the undiscovered country from which no traveler has returned. So we believe. And Hope College lives and breathes with the idea that faith matters, because faith links us to both the past and the future while giving us meaning and purpose in the present, especially as we have to make choices and establish goals and invest in societies. Alan Patton is one of our global fathers who has reminded us of that. Wrestling with a racialized world in South Africa, we remember him best for his loving and pained voice in Cry, the Beloved Country. But when success could have rerouted his life into the isolation and insulation of wealth, he continued to find his purpose in the grand past of God. His 1981 novel, Ah, But Your Land is Beautiful, still guides us with faith's wisdom. Robert Mansfield is a timid school headmaster as the separations of apartheid are dividing the South African society. By his own admission, he's not a political man, yet these rules about which students can compete in sporting events and which schools get to play against which rankle him badly. Against the advice of family and friends, he refuses to implement the new policies, So he's forced to resign his position and becomes isolated in his community. Alone and doubting, Mansfield struggles. The only person he sees is Emmanuel Nene, the messenger of the court. Emmanuel Nene is not supposed to speak with Robert Mansfield, but he chooses to do so anyway. He wants to get to know the one who defies the government at the expense of his own security and comfort. So Emmanuel Nene begins to have small conversations with Robert Mansfield. Though they are not friends, they become friendly. And then one day, Emmanuel Nene asks the question, why did you do it? Why did you defy the government? Why did you put yourself at risk when you didn't have to? And Robert Mansfield looks down. He shrugs his shoulders. He is uncertain. I really can't say. But Emmanuel Nene knows. He says, I know why you did it. You and I both know why. We think our lives here are so important, he says, and they are. But one day, someday, you and I know that we will cross over and we will meet our Lord face to face. He will welcome us home with a smile and an open arm. And we will see his scars, the wounds of the cross, the reminders of his sacrifice. And we will thank him. And then, with a gentle voice, he will ask us if he can see our scars. And we will be perplexed. Were your wounds not enough? We will ask him, is our salvation not complete by what you have done? He will nod. He will smile. And a tear will run down his cheek. And with a wistful choke in his voice, he will ask, but was there nothing to fight for? Was there nothing to fight for? Today you own the world. But tomorrow when life is back to normal, remember who you are. And more importantly, remember whose you are. Remember the days of old. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain it to you. You will find your best identity. You will find your morality. You will find your faith. You will find your hope.
Thank you, Dr. Brower, for your excellent words of wisdom. It's easy to see why the students have selected you to speak here today and also for the Hope Award. Now, Mr. President, the seniors whose names appear in the commencement program have fulfilled all the requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, the requirements, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing. It's my pleasure, Mr. President, to present to you the members of the senior class for the conferral of these degrees. Will the members of the senior class please rise?
With the authority vested in me by the sovereign state of Michigan and by official action of the Board of Trustees of Hope College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree which you have earned with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. Graduates will now be conducted to the platform. Provost Bulkins will read the names, and it will be my great privilege to present the diplomas to each of you.
Professors Stephanie Edwards and Fred Johnson will direct you to come forward as appropriate. Just a few instructions before we do so. Parents, we do have professional photographers who will be taking pictures of the graduates as they receive their diplomas. They're very good at this. We just simply ask that you not come to the podium for photos. It will make this go much more smoothly, and there will be ample time for photos for afterwards as well. This is a fun ceremony. And you have every right to celebrate the graduation of your son or daughter or family member here. And if you want to cheer a little bit, that's great. The longer you cheer, the longer this will take. Those bleachers will get hard. If you happen to have brought an air horn with you and you choose not to embarrass yourself, I suggest you tuck that away right now, or we'll have to escort you away, or you will have to pay a year's tuition to some fine freshman coming here next year. You do not want to do that, I know for sure. I also want to tell you that Scott Travis, Executive Director of the Alumni Engagement, will be distributing Hope College alumni pins to each graduate in honor of their entrance into the Alumni Association. He will be assisted by 2 members of the class of 1966, celebrating their 50th reunion this spring. And I might add that that was a really fine class. I was a member of that class. One of you graduates might be doing this in 50 years from now, getting to read names at graduation. So graduates, we hope you will wear these pins with pride and remember how much your alma mater appreciates you. So now if you'll bring the graduates up here, we'll begin reading these names. And as they all came forward, Trigby said to me, "You got to read all those names." I said, "I'll do my best." Now remember, the nurses are last, and we want to treat them just as much as the early names too, because we're all may need those nurses before we finish here today. Particularly me. So first of all, we will start with a Master of Arts. So the Bachelor of Arts. You'd probably like your master's degree right now, wouldn't you? We're not quite ready to do that. Keep coming. Is Allison Acosta. Isabel Adams. Wait till I read it. Levi David Adrianson. Alex Kofi Adusi. Cody Alber. Kira Elise Alsum. Timothy Gerard Altieri. Autumn Anderson. Kyle John Anderson. Andrea Lauren Antonin. Blake Alexander Appel. Francis Apreza. Isaac Aronson. Robert John Arnold. Michael Arthur. Alexander Arthurs. Hannah Rebecca Axdorf. Megan Elizabeth Bailey. Paul Anthony Bardenhagen. Corbin Bradford Barnett. Jocelyn Berrigan. Samuel Barthel. Kelly Nicole Battistone. Thomas Batts. Hannah Lynn Bowersfeld. Sarah Nicole Beams. Catherine Beery. Austin Bodwin. Emily Danielle Beckering. Joseph John Beamer. Alexander Bellica. Joel Barra. Grace Elizabeth Bertie. Kyle Kevin Bernasiak. Natalie Elizabeth Bessler. Dominic John Bertolone. Ethan James Beswick. Sarah Katerina Baytag. Emily Grace Bickle. Lena Bajitsky. Brittany Bilbrew. Trevor David Billinghurst. Toby Bloom. Zachary John Boersma. Jacob Brian Boersma. Nathan Boersma. Allison Bovey. Kylie Bovey. Jared Hendon Bollart. Emily Louise Bomily. Justin Bama. Beth Ann Bokamp. Ellery Ann Baukamp. Lauren Parks Boyle. Elizabeth Bransdorfer. Austin Dellen Bremer. Excuse me. Kelsey Elise Breaker. Lauren Brickley. Elizabeth Karen Brigger. Nicholas Robert Brindley. Holly Brinker. Michaela Renee Brinks. Madeline Margaret Brochu. Vanessa Brockhouse. Sedina Lee Brocht. Luke Brower. David Brown. Hunter Brummels. Just get the hugs over with. Thomas Bervanek. Brittany Buchholz. Jennifer Nicole Buckingham. Jacob Anthony Buddy. Tu Bowie. Jamie Ray Boltice. Tracy Lynn Boltice. Lauren Elizabeth Burford. Ian Busson. Claire Elizabeth Butts. Mariana Buzzo. Eric Nicholas Bile. Robert Anthony Byrne. Zoe Marie Coltrider. Casey Catherine Campbell. Ryan Thomas Campbell. Diana Campos Loera. Alexander Paul Caradonna. Sarah Amelia Carollo. Gwendolyn Maya Casper. Abigail Casella. Maxwell Daniel Castillo. Tony Donnell Cephas II. Chelsea Chamberlain. Bailey Noel Sinclair Chapman. Chelsea Nicole Chase. Jacob Chipka. Chulalai Chomchan. Allison Ann Clarity. Kristen Lynn Kaufman. Kendall James Cole. Samantha P. Cole. Corey Cook. Slow down. Timothy John Cook. Veronica Cook. Claire Brianna Cooper. Rachel Elizabeth Corey. Kayleen Elizabeth Corey. Matthew Liam Costello. Virginia Mary Cotterall. Mackenzie Coyle. Kevin Cross. Caitlin Cunningham. Gracie Curtis. Colton Storm Curtis. Hannah Lynn Cutshall. Mana Grace Chekowitz. Thomas Diodario. Hope Ashby Daniel. David Aaron Daniels. Katerina McMahon Dasbach. Lindsay Michelle Davidson. Danielle DeTorres. Jenna Lynn DeYoung. Dana Jane DeBest. Emma Quinn DeBuff. Carl Edward Deeg. Jordan Olivia Denon. Brett Colin Dawsey. Taylor Morgan Deaver. Joseph Thomas Deviney. Wait. Dean Philip DeVries. Jason Peter Dirksey DeWitt. Wait just a minute, okay. Philip DeSico. Jeremy Diller. Annie Lynn Dillman. Bethany Margaret Disher. Kaylee Joy Doan. Thomas John Doherty. William Ketter Domermuth. Zachary Dreyer. Caitlin Ray Dufek, excuse me. Ian Dukart. Sweet. Jonathan Volk Dunbar. Mallory Christine Dye. Abigail Marie Dykema. Kelly Marie Dykema. Elizabeth Tate Eder. Alex Edson. Max Edward Elder. Carol Lynn Ellis. Sarah Ellis. James David Elsperman. Austin Elleroux. Abigail Emerson. Brittany Ingbers. Wait till I read your name. Mark Ingalls. Lily Jane Fulberg. Sarah Ann Fallon. Catherine Frances Fan. Lauren Catherine Fanta. Gabriella Favela. Kelly Marie Fighton. Ashley Fernandez. Zachary Fex. Marie Fisher. Brandon John Flood. Emily Rose Florek. Emma Grace Fondell. Adam Banis Foreign. Emma Forlow. Kirsten Foster. Cameron Fox. Rebecca Durbin Fox. Danae Jacqueline Frost. Just wait a second. Just wait. Lydia Danelli Frost Brophy. Emily Catherine Gaddis. Cassandra Cruz Goncedo. Austin Garcia. Cindy Marie Garcia. Sandra Delia Garcia. Benjamin Marshall Gardner. Jochebed Abigail Garduno. Micah Ryan Gargala. Kristen Lee Garrett. Brian Garvey. Jillian Gasson. Elizabeth Frances Goran. Lauren Caitlin Gentry. Brianna Lee Genzink. Austin Getz. Gregory Glebe. Matthew Theodore Glowacki. Nicholas Glowacki. Keegan George Golan. Tyler Gegline. Dion Goladay. Victoria Gonda. Angela Christine Gonzalez. Aaron Goodall. Anna Estelle Goodlang. Amber Lee Goodike. Austin William Goodike. Sarah Gould. Maria Ng Asabe Goan. Joseph Groheck. Katrina Louise Greathouse. David John Green. Megan Lynn Gregorski. Bonnie Gregory. Devin Thomas Gregory. Zane Griffin. Molly Kristen Grit. Samantha Jo Grody. Regina Guerra. Sophie Irene Getsko. Alejandra Guzman. Janine Ruth Hackman. Get it all. They write me messages. Catherine Hecker. Karsten Ray Hall. Stephanie Hamer. Michelle Hansey. Hope Elizabeth Hancock. Noelle Marie Haney. Samuel Hansel. Erica Hansen. Alex Foster Harless. Michaela Harrell. Sarah Jessica Harvin. Taylor Robinson Hatfield. Rachel Nicole Hayden. Lauren May Hayscamp. Kristen Elizabeth Hazlett. Sarah Antoinette Hefner. Amy Marie Heidel. John Edward Helm IV. Brianne Elise Hemeke. Jordan Hill. Israel Ippolito. James Gordon Hock. Jonathan Hoffman. Rachel Hoffman. Marie Lynn Holloway. Stephen Michael Holm. Whitney Holmes. Zoe Marie Hoover. Grace Elizabeth Horn. Benjamin George Hostetler. Si-Young Hu. Mariah Pearl Hunt. Alexandra Huss. Joanna Kathleen Huss. Spencer Leland Oba. Anisi Ashimwe. Alexander Isa. Hannah Elizabeth Jacobsma. Catherine Elizabeth Jaderholm. Preston Janikin. Nicole Christine Jollis. Thomas James Jenkins. Reed Henry Giroux. Michael Johns. Hannah Marie Johnson. Benjamin Johnson. Evan Johnson. Lucas Gregory Johnson. Shanisa Johnson. Clarissa Ann Harvey Johnston. Taylor Catherine Jones. Kara Josephson. Melanie Julison. Noah James Jurek. Courtney Lynn Kashlik. Jessica Jo Kane. Jordan Kalsbeek. Aoi Kenby. Jessica Michelle Kaminsky. Rachel Melania Campice. Ivy Rose Keene. Emma Kate Kagaris. Emily Kelly. Colin James Kelly II. Jane Alida Kessel. Johannes Kasharian. Paulina Korn. Kaylee Kish. Allison Lee Kleppinger. Abigail Klett. Samantha Lynn Kluckert. Alex Klunder. Sarah Napper. Ryan Conkle. Callie Anna Kostreva. Kaylee Kowalski. Jessica Nicole Kramer. Amanda Kraus. Gretchen Michelle Kraus. Hannah Kramer. Matthew Kroll. Haley Michelle Kromendijk. Anna Joanne Krieger. Lauren Elizabeth Krug. Nathan Cruzy. Kunjok Deng Kwek. Daniel Douglas Kuiper. Marin Jo Kuiper. Abigail Labarge. Madison Ambrose LaChance. Samuel Michael Lake. Ashley Lambers. Hannah Elizabeth Larson. Caitlin Christine Laverty. Jacob Matthew Lazar. Benjamin Lee. Karen Angela Lee. Morgan Reed Leap. Lindsay Lehman. Claire Elise Leitzen. David Lindsay III. Just wait till I read it. Jessica Rose Lindquist. Christopher William Leo. Hope he knows his own name. Noah Emmanuel Litweiler. Catherine Nicole Lodge. Megan Lee Lohman. Nathan Kirk Longfield. Jessica Loper. Mikar Noel Lopez. Megan Ashley Laurie. Mitchell Timothy Larson. Margaret Mary Losi. Stephanie Renee Lyons. Griffin John McDonald. Duncan McLean IV. Daniela Gabriella Maestre. Caitlin Marie Manning. Carl Stephen Mysinkus. Eleanor Morgan Marinelli. Alexander Marcos. Tyler Ashley Marone. Ross Joseph Matasius. Christina Ann Matthew. Jenna Lynn Morey. Maura Catherine McAfee. O'Reilly Bengu McCarris. Kelly Martin McKeon. Joseph Anthony McMahon. Sam Alexander McNulty. Natasha Elizabeth Nicole McQueen. Levi James Mail. Serena Lily Meta. Esfede Mirella Mendoza. Maricela Miraz. Alyssa Nicole Merges. Sarah Grace Merul. Nicole Jade Metzler. Gavin Cougar Midlam. That's creative. Katie Joy Miedema. Marina Angela Millard. Alyssa Renee Miller. Leslie Ann Miller. Lauren Miotashevsky. Dorothy Nicole Mitchell. Thanks. Elise Miriam Mitchell. Jenny Annalise Motterwell. Alex Molinar. Kirsten Monson. Esther Marino. Rocio Ione Marino. Abigail Lee Morgan. Gustavo Bruno Ariujo de Mora. That's close enough, huh? Justine Marie Muchinski. Sometimes the lips don't work. Lindsay Mudge. Thanks, Lindsay. Batel Deriji Mulat. Colleen Marie Mullen. Molly Frances Merck. Madeline Jane Murphy. Leah Boyd Murray. Tara Cecilia Murray. Slow down a little bit. Allison Mary Muscat. Elena Jordan Needham. Bonnie Elaine Nelson. Connor Garrett Nelson. Madeline Alexa Nelson. Hannah Newbound. Megan Newman. Kara Ann Niffen. Paige Elizabeth Niven. Claire Northites. Chloe Elise Nykamp. Laura Lee O'Connor. Tyler Olesh. David Olgers. Emily Lauren Oliver. Grace Marie Olk. Three different ways is not fair. Mireya Olvera. There we go. Bailey O'Neill. Parker Andrew Ostrink. Edil Ozer. Claire Elizabeth Pabst. Slow down, just slow down. Melissa Pace. Kimberly Palmer. Brandon Parcell. Henry Navarre Peabody IV. Jane Elizabeth Pearson. Laura Deanne Personaire. Ashley Person. Nathan Todd Petrolia. Brooke Renee Petzak. Nicholas Michael Picard. Gabrielle Piava Plape. Tara Plut. Natalie Polanco. Stephanie Ann Paulette. Wait just a sec. Nathan Pohl. David Port. Taylor Nicole Procott. Rachel Meredith Pushak. Destiny Monica Polito. Robert Zachary Pyle. Luke David Reagan. Miguel Ramirez. Slow down. Megan Bliss Reish. Mitchell Townsend Reitzma. Alexa Catherine Rensis. Colin James Wrench. Ryan Matthew Restum. Dulce Maria Reyes. Erin Elizabeth Rhodes. Jillian Taylor Rice. Bryce Richards. Brandon Nicholas Richardson. Nicholas Ryan Richardson. Fallon Joe Ritchie. Leah Rose Richter. Katie Elizabeth Ricks. Claire Rittering. Linnea Ridland. Emily Ray Remersma. Elizabeth Joy Ringel. Alexis Simone Rivers. Rebecca Roberts. Colleen Marie Roddy. Evan Alexander Rogers. Brianna Marie Regner. Jamie Lynn Rogalski. Jesus Romero. Nathaniel Rommel. Chelsea Kathleen Root. Jared Christopher Rupp. Emma Ropsky. Mary Rose. Addison Lee Ross. Priscilla Vasti Rubio. Madeline Torres Ryan. Jacqueline Salgado. Alexis Lauren Salisbury. Micah Saul. Claudia Maria Sanchez. Ryan May Sayer. Zachary Christian Scott. Ryan Schaefer. Joseph Skierbig. Leah Christine Skierbig. Benjamin James Shipper. Kara Ashney Skipper. Erica Lynn Schlinker. Allison Schnell. Jordan Skolton. Erin Kate Shagardis. Clara Elizabeth Schremer. Maxwell Thomas Scheidemann. Grace Shukas. Mackenzie Kathleen Schumborg. Carly Christine Schweppe. Amanda Scott. Madeline Grace Scott. Sarah Elizabeth Sheridan. Abigail Jennifer Shue. Caitlin Ann Simplecamp. Elizabeth Marie Sitterley. Ryan Alexander Skronik. Stein Andreas Sleda. Catherine Jones Smith. Connor Mitchell Smith. Hillary Elizabeth Smith. Catherine Smith. Marissa Smith. Anna Elizabeth Snyder. Tyler Spalding. Ezra Sprick. Samuel Stratton Starks. Shannon Carolyn Stearns. Bridget Stenger. Amanda Rita Steffo. Thomas John Stevenson. Sarah Stewart. Melanie Marie Strickland. Jordan Stump. Leah Corlett Sullivan. Laurel Christine Sutherland. Hanya Mae Shimchuk. Lucas Mark Scott Tans. Brandon Nelson Torello. Maxine Gabrielle Terry. Sarah Elizabeth Thoman. Abigail Louise Thomas. Mariana Elise Thomas. Alexandra Thomason. I need one. Roger Thompson. Taylor Jacqueline Thorpe. Eric Allen Timmer. James Nelson Timmer. Travis Patrick Toya. Abby Jo Tung. Carolyn Kate Torrin. Claire Alexandra Trevex. Joanne Chen Sai. Michelle Sai. Shannon Lynn Turner. Maria Adelaida Umana. Allison Nicole Urban. Colton Luke Ursini. Jacqueline Sue Van Dyke. Mary Beth Christine Van Hecky. Eric John Van Swol. Joshua Vandemonte. Victoria Frances Vanderhart. Jordan Vanderleest. Stephen Gilbert Vanderlip. Josie Renee Vandermolen. Hannah Vanderveen. Brady Vanderwill. Wait till cheering stops here. Elizabeth Louise Vanderweg. Kelsey Suzanne Van Isle Godin. Just wait a second. Priscilla Van Heest. Troy Van Portfleet. Cesar Vargas. David Vesley III. Emily Veenbos. Christian Armando Vega. Whitney Rose Velthaus. William Schuler Verdine. Francis Virgos. Jacob Verschern. Victoria Diane Vavine. Ashley Anna Volasek. Olivia Kathleen Volkman. Abigail Voorhees. Kelsey Lorraine Vredeveld. Aaron Walters. Stephen Waltersdorf. Victoria Walton. Li Ping Wong. Paul Tol Wong. Jacob Warrener. Luke Elliott Washington. Lindsay Ann Watkins. Georgie Marie Cavera Watson. Erin Paige Watts. Sarah Ray Lorraine Weathered. Morgan Kaylee Weaver. Matthew Daniel Webb. Kimberly Wettinger. Allison Page Whalen. Kaylee Christine Weirda. Michael Scott Wilbur. Gabriella Marie Williams. My turn. Sorry, provost prerogative there. Jay Williams.
Give it to me. Give me some love.
Kathleen Mackenzie Williams. Haley Marie Wilson. Karina Lynn Winkleman. Carissa Joy Winkler. Alexander Michael Winter. William Allen Winter. Daniel Case Winters. Brianna Wisniewski. Luke Wisniewski. Did you eat it? Stephen James Wittenbach Jr. Chrisanne Louise Whitliff. Jason Matthew Waitoko. Brooke Walters. Just wait a minute. Kelly Lynn Warmaster. Matthew Lawrence Wright. Maxim Wright. Anna Yakulo. Kanoko Yamazaki. Sasha Emilov Jonoff. Benjamin Zank. Lauda Zavala. Valerie Savislak. William Slater Zalaki. Christine Angel Zhao. Iran Ji. Ethan Zimmerman. Theodora Zucker. Leah Zylstra. This next group, we start with the Bachelor's of Music degrees. Callahan Noel Davenport. Aaron Goodike. Good hands, Goodike. Huh? Jamie Nicole Steinman. Margaret Grace Walter. The following degrees now start the Bachelor of Science degrees. Erin Lucy Ulensix. Emily Clara Ossie. Ryan Mark Backman. John Joseph Baransky. Brianna Barbu. Sean Ryan Bates. Brock Thomas Benson. Dalton Blood. Michelle Pauline Borichter. Luke Holter Boggs. Andrew James Bonsalar. John Boss. Mara Irene Bottomley. Brandon Harrison Bowser. Ryan Matthew Boxeth. Jacqueline Brett. Daniel Douglas Brune. Francisco Contreras Sea. Corey Cook. Sean Cushman. Allie Sandra Day. John William Deppy. Daniel James Dietschy. Michael Doney. Gavin James Donnelly. Palmer DiOrazio. Joshua Stephen Dykstra. Tyler J. Eichels. Samuel Eldersveld. Haley Renee Fairchild. Samuel John Gallmeyer. Anna Garcia. Nicholas Reed Gibson. Matthew James Gyru. Andrew Clark Giza. Caroline Elizabeth Gregerson. Andrew Franklin Harrison. Shara Beth Head. Nathaniel Ray Hedgecock. Skylar Trenton Heidema. Jeffrey Holmes. Jacob Iceberg. Jesse Ickes. Kylie Nicole Jacobs. Robert Kish. Mark Russell Copenal. Nicole Anna Ladd. Seth Lehman. Daniel Emmett Leahy. Alexandria Laguerre. Brittany Leonard. Eric Lippon. Courtney Marie Lohman. Haley Marie Lynch. Kylie Justice Magnuson. Yubing Mao. Braden Marks. Boone Maroy. Ryan McConnell. Francisco Mendez. Rochelle Rose Miller. Francesco Severide Moan. Eric Van Roy Money. Kaylee Mullen. Taylor Elliott Meyer. Amanda Lee Napier. Dimitri Nastasa. Andrew James Neville. Drake Abraham Nealons. Zachary Nichols. Monica Onsorg. Samuel James Otto. Lydia Pagel. Megan Hart Parkins. Chelsea Elizabeth Payne. Jacqueline Kim Plowman. Faith Margaret Potgieser. Cameron James Pratt. David Joseph Rack. Guillermo Rangel Vaca. Sarah Ann Ratliff. Matthew Mark Rolane. Lauren Joan Rooney. Randall Robert Rue. Daniel John Rosema. Daniel Santalucia. Christina Sorosik. Kayla Marie Skipper. Tyler Skur. William James Schultz III. Olivia Louise Varnum Schwartzfisher. Jessica Darlene Scott. Just wait. Matthew William Celesco. Christopher Cito. Charles Sletter. Glenn Raymond Smith. Madeline Smith. Travis Spears. Jacob Stafford. Chelsea Steinfeld. Daniel Stevens. Julia Stock. Mark Gregory Stukel. Evan Surink. Alexander Swain. Just wait. Kenneth Swiftbird. Chelsea Terhar. Evan David Thomas. Victoria Lee Thompson. Michael Jacob Trier. Meredith Turner. Miranda Ray Ulmer. Tyler Velisevic. Bradley John Van Valkenburg. Cassie Marie Van Wynen. Michael James Van Weingarten. Elizabeth Vertabedian. Daniel Vessels. Vu Wong. Randall Douglas Wade. Xiaomong Wong. Skylar Cruz Watson. Lindsay Grace Wiederhold. Carter Wolf. Xiaodong Wu. Just wait just a sec. Just let me catch up a little bit. Alexandria Grace Woman. Mason Yoder. Jeffrey Zita. And now the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Sharon Abraham. Molly Frances Benton. Catherine Elizabeth Bird. Dana Elizabeth Bolser. Paul Michael Bradley. Anna Brucker. Brittany Compagner. Alicia Christine Kermy. Elena Michelle Damon. Larissa Olivia Davenport. Hannah Dole. Madeline Finn. Just a sec. Elise Nicole Grinowitz. Rachel Nicole Henry. Abby Hodgkinson. Anna Holm. Emma LaRae Humphrey. Michelle Jacqueline Kerr. Kelsey Elizabeth King. Catherine Ann Lee. Abby Elizabeth Lewis. Faith Janine Leader. Rudalyn Rosemee Metellus. Jenny Miller. Allison Kathleen Mitchell. Christina Joy Mulder. Mallory Christine Murphy. Megan Jean Norat. Catherine Rose Osborne. Kelsey Lynn Otter. Kayla Perot. Ashton Postma. Ashley Marie Prince. Elizabeth May Roskamp. Samantha Claire Rudnicki. Alexandra Rose Scott. Nicole Leanna Schmelz. Catherine Jean Shanklin. Jessica Snyder. Andy Ray Stuck. Ashley Elizabeth Urban. Emily Ruth Owen Zoller. Julia Allison Schumann. James Andrew Ankerman. And now you can cheer all you want.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. No kidding. Okay. Graduates, let me again add my congratulations and say that you are a blessing to Hope College and to the world that you will serve. Now you go your separate ways, but wherever life may take you, never forget that nestled in a village on the shore of Lake Michigan, there is a place called Hope, where you will always have a home and where we will be cheering you on. Spera in Deo. Let us now stand and join in the singing of our alma mater, led by the graduating members of the chapel choir.
Before the benediction, a word to families and friends. In the effort to help our cleanup staff, we ask that everyone would take a moment to pick up any waste that is lying around them and to place empty water bottles in the recycling bins that are placed throughout the stadium. Class of 2016, it is now time. Time for you to commence into this world God so loves. And as you commence, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance upon each of you, that you might experience the peace that transcends understanding. In the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the triune God of hope. And all the people of hope said, Amen. Friends, we are dismissed.
Yay.